makes funerals matter? When was the last time you stood in a graveyard? You gathered around a hole in the ground, grieving the loss of a loved one, a child, parent, sibling, relative, or friend. Your world stopped in remembrance. What did you remember? Good times, sad times, struggles, sacred moments of life. Who did you hold close and cry with? Who did you reconnect with after years of busyness? Funerals are especially hard when there is no warning of frailty, infirmity, or long illness. Death strikes like a shockwave. Funerals and memories offer us some comfort as loved ones gather. In 2026, I attended Carrie's celebration of life service. Pancreatic cancer hit hard and defeated her body fast, but not her spirit. For her own service, she recorded what was on her heart. She shared some of her journey growing up in her family with siblings. As a child, she trusted God, then turned from Him. As a young adult, Carrie got hurt doing whatever she wanted to do. Then, grieved over her rebellion, she turned back to God. His love poured over and through her soul, healing her heart wounds. Friends, security, and loving family filled her days. "It's been good," she said. "It's been a good life. I'm blessed. I have a peace about what's going on in my life. I have peace because I know where I'm going." And she's looking forward to reunions with her friends and family. This she was saying, knowing she was dying. And as I worked on this episode, a friend was expected to leave the hospital after successful surgery. Instead, he crossed into eternity. Life at all ages and stages is sacred and fragile, yet resilient and designed to thrive. Beyond the grave, funerals, and memories make me think about legacy. Legacies left behind by those who have crossed into eternity. What legacy will you and I leave for others? Welcome to Truth Talk, Wisdom Walk with C.A. Curtis. I'm Carolyn. Like the blood of our ancestors, their legacy flows through our veins. When the diphtheria epidemic ravaged families in 1857, my mother's grandmother, Margarita, at 16 years old, was the sole survivor of 7 sisters. Such loss in 6 short weeks leaves us shocked. How did her parents live another day? Youth was and is no guarantee of longevity. Yet Margarita survived diphtheria and temporary blindness. Her legacy is engraved in my flesh and blood. My mother's mother, Louise, was expected to die at birth from an enlarged heart, and my mother almost died expectant with me, yet here I am. Have you ever considered, given the history of diseases, disasters, and humankind's bent for making a mess of things, how extraordinary it is that we survive and thrive even in hardship? What if our legacy goes far beyond things or flesh and blood? Decades ago, Papa passed away. My folks were on vacation in Twin Falls, Idaho for Mother's high school reunion. He complained of not feeling well. He laid down for a nap and crossed into eternity. Her siblings and our family gathered in support and memorialized his life story. I remember that moment I found out. I remember exactly what I was doing. I remember the scramble to pack and get the car ready and leave town to go to his memorial. There we sang the Whip and Poof song from his college days. Maybe you've heard it. We are poor little lambs who have lost our way. Compare that to today's lyrics. Later, during another Idaho visit to his graveside, Mom learned there were no plots by Papa. She could end up on the other side of the highway. Back home, her fear prompted me to call about her final arrangements. That was not something I ever expected to do for my living mother yet. At that very moment, her brother, sister, and their spouses were in the office at that Idaho funeral home making their own arrangements. How does that just happen? How is that precise timing a coincidence? They lived out in the farm country. Yet, there they were in town. So they checked out her site and I negotiated a contract. The next week, when I gave Mom the contract, she recoiled and moaned. With my urging, she reluctantly signed it, and I felt sick driving home that night, abandoning my dear mother to her fears. Several blocks away, a beautiful rainbow arched from a stand of evergreens and spanned the valley, and I remembered God's promises. Still, I was not happy about driving away from my dear, frightened mother. And I caused that. At our visit the next Friday, Mom said she had a bad week. As we moved our stuff in for our turn at caregiving, she repeated short phrases. This black hole wouldn't go away. Then it all changed. Shades of color, the song. Tired from work and unpacking distracted me until the next morning, when it dawned on me to listen to what Mom said. On January 23rd, after signing the burial site contract, fear haunted her. Pen and paper in hand, I scribbled as she spoke. A black hole, all I could see. 'Cause I had just paid out $5,000 for a hole in the ground. And that's what I saw, a black hole. And it wasn't even covered, just a hole. And it was my size, the size of a casket. And I went bananas. Good grief, it was all I could see. It was frustrating. I was so depressed, I mean really depressed. It was at night. It affected me the next day. And after I went to bed and closed my eyes, it was just there, the hole. And I couldn't avoid it. That was it. And it was waiting for me. What a way to go, pitiful. You could feel the dirt, the cold. And here I am listening to this, just horrified. And she continued. During the night on Wednesday the 27th, sometime after that was when it changed. It changed, and there were colors. It wasn't an empty black hole. I didn't see it as a hole. The hole was still there, but separate, not a forever thing. It was empty, yet overpowered by Jesus the Christ. Colorful, heart-shaped leaves moved slowly, overlapping one another all around us. In the background, each leaf was a different color, with shades blended together. The area was filled. It wasn't confined. It was all-encompassing. All the colors, the movement in the colors, different shades of rose into reds, pinks, purples, like a rainbow. And it was light. Because Jesus was there, it was light. In him, there is no darkness. He was singing, and he got me singing. We were both singing, and we were laughing. Where he leads me, I will follow. We were singing it, but the song is there anyway. The music is part of everything around me. It wasn't just the singing that was blended there. It was happiness. Where he leads me, I will follow. It wasn't something that came to an end. It was constant. It wasn't something you could leave, like going into another room. It was all-encompassing. It had to go on for a period of time because there was no end to it. The colors were there, and Jesus was there, and his countenance was like laughter. The laughter was blended, not like people laugh. It was more like music. Before, all I saw was the dirt hole waiting for me, and I was terribly depressed. But that's not the way it ends. Then I envisioned this other, and it was so different. Continual, no idea how long it lasted, the vision that God gave me. But it wasn't like a vision, it was real, and it was happening to me, and it completely changed everything, how I perceived things to be. So we see through a glass darkly, I asked. Is that ever true? It was so different, like laughter, joy unspeakable and full of glory. Joy unspeakable and full of glory. It wasn't just a short time. It took in everything. There wasn't just singing, there was laughter. What did Jesus look like? I asked. He became the singing and the laughter, and it went on for hours. I could see it. It wasn't in my bed or my room. It was vast, and I was there in the colors. I was part of what was going on. I was part of it. It wasn't like me sitting here watching TV. I was in it. What was it? I wasn't separate from the color or from Christ, like trying to separate yourself from water. It surrounded you. What I was seeing surrounded me. Like you were caught up in the Spirit, I asked. Right. From the hole to the glory, from the grave to the glory. When I awakened, I was aware that everything had changed. I still saw the colors, and everything was still there. I opened my eyes, and the colors, the light, the singing, everything was like I had never been asleep. My husband Richard had entered the room and agreed. Jesus said, "I'm the light of the world." We usually see light as white, but light is a spectrum. She saw the full spectrum, he repeated. Jesus said, "I'm the light of the world, and in me there is no darkness." Mother described standing on a balcony with Jesus singing, surrounded by translucent, shimmering leaves. The next day, she asked exactly what the hole cost. $4,200, I said. For a hole? When you're telling a woman she needs to? All I see in my sleep is a hole, dug out, and I'm desperate, depressed. I don't want to go. So I'm depressed, and my family can't bring me out of it. That night, I had this vision. I was with Jesus, and Jesus was leading me in singing beautiful colors, blues, all shades of blue into rose. It was like a rainbow, not with separate colors, blended. We were so happy. Jesus was happy. I was happy. He had dark hair. His countenance was beautiful, all through him, like the real deal. We were there close together for hours continual, not like a flash. It was so light. It completely changed how I saw the hole in the ground. And I still hear the music. I still see Christ. That evening, family gathered around Mother in her bedroom, and she asked me to read what I had transcribed. When I finished, she described how she felt about the black hole. Granddaughter Ariana pleaded, "Not my grandma," and Mother reassured her by saying, Jesus changes everything to light, laughter, color, and singing. 2 months later, Mother said, I still see Jesus in the colorful leaves. I don't have to get my act together to recall it. I can see more than one thing in this room. Peripheral vision, I suggested. Yes, I can see the lamp and the chair, and I see Christ. He's beautiful, and he's laughing. And we don't have to change things down here through the ages. He's ever present. Mother was seeing beyond peripheral vision into other dimensions, invigorated at 95. And she rose from her hospice heart failure on oxygen sickbed and traveled with family. Mother was awed by another vision where she was approaching an arched bridge. She saw the path, the bridge, and the water However, the path beyond the bridge faded from view. The path was ordinary, yet water flowing under the bridge was singing and shimmering with colorful translucent rocks singing in the riverbed. My attempt to paint that scene utterly failed. The next year, she saw the scene again and was on the bridge, closer to the other side. When she blew out all 100 candles at her birthday party, the smoke set off the fire alarm to our delight. That year, her picture was on the front page of a newspaper as the centenarian at our state Republican convention. She was interviewed by a TV reporter there who made the mistake of baiting her to say something against one of the 2016 presidential candidates. You know, Mom didn't talk bad about people. It would be very unusual for her to do so. With a stern look, she stated to that camera and news person, "I used to be a Democrat, but then I saw the light." Feisty, priceless. She was not finished yet. At 102, she was interviewed at a regional Christian women's conference. Sweet Mama Louise crossed into eternity before her next birthday, but her video clip and photos from her life story helped kick off their International Women's Conference on Adventure. The photo of her sitting astride a big blue Harley at 100 was classic. Mother's legacy and love lives on here and in eternity, and it's floating around YouTube. Legacy from my parents flows through us and our children and extended family. Their legacy includes faith in God, love, compassion, gratitude, kindness, laughter, hope, forgiveness, resilience, wisdom, and a humble acceptance of our human weaknesses. My prayer is to keep their life-giving flow of legacy moving toward others. And what if our legacy goes far beyond things or flesh and blood? What if legacy can live on through spirit into eternity? Thinking about legacy, I wrote and then dedicated this poem to a beloved niece, Trina. Legacy. Life brought forth and lived within a family tree, weaving our branches while writing history. Though our paths diverge and then draw near again, loving, learning, knowing, hearts sharing from within. Reunion of souls, feeling loved ones ever near. With joyful communion, life purpose becomes clear. This inheritance we share, living faith's legacy, not of things, but spirit for all eternity. Life legacy, family legacy is never just about what we own or what owns us. The more we own, the more we have to maintain, clean, pay taxes on, and repair. We know what happens at estate sales. Treasures are sold for pennies on the dollar or auctioned to the highest bidder. Who and what counts as real treasure, worthy of love's legacy? We're all impacted by family legacy, good, bad, ugly, or all three. Be encouraged. Whatever legacy lives in us can be transformed by God's love into life-giving legacy. We choose love's legacy. Truth matters, wisdom matters, and you matter. Love truth, be grateful, and do good. And thank you for joining this journey. Until we meet again.